yourself, because no one else is going to take care of you for you. Okay, you need to be empowered to know your self-worth and take care of that. Keep your emotions in check. Not being all over the board at work. You need to be emotionally stable. You need to be approachable, so people know, like, if they come up to you and ask you a question, if there's a problem, that you're emotionally sound and you're not going to fly off the charts. Okay, so that means leaving your troubles at home. What Jean Marie Cummings talked about a couple weeks ago, and leaving your troubles at home, the golden hanger. That's a great that's a great thing to live by. Being organized. A lot of people, if their home is a mess, apartment's a mess, and you ever felt like that if things are completely out of control because your life's not in order? Have you ever felt like that before? Okay. Getting your life in order, making sure your desk, your workspace, your home is in order. If not, that creates a lot of stress. We started watching, I think it was a couple of nights ago, we were watching. Anybody seen this lady that comes in and looks at everyone's home and has them throw things out? It's a
Japanese girl?
Yes. I don't know what her name is, but apparently it's the biggest thing now. They comes in and has you just throw out different items if it doesn't bring you joy. That's an awesome show. But we started just getting rid of things like crazy. It does help, because it does help alleviate stress. Creating and maintaining a support network, like we talked about the other day, last week, is having a network of people, having a circle that you can talk to, be candid with, and let them know what's going on in your life. You need that. People need that. If you have that small circle, that means you're not coming into work and you're not having to tell everybody. That's where drama is created. We don't need that. You don't want that in your staff. You have to be focused on your work. Developing realistic goals. Job burnout happens to a lot of people. It's when you're under extreme stress. It could be due to things at home, an immense amount of work, workload from your boss, whatever it may be. It happens a lot, especially in the hospitality industry, because we have a lot of people who are working a lot of hours and not really taking care of themselves the way they should. Some signs of burnout: tardiness and absences. That's one of the first signs. Most people don't call out all the time from work. I remember working in industry. How many tires blow out in the morning, and one employee had must have had 8 or 9 grandmothers that passed away. Those things you got to be aware of. And then a lot of physical and emotional health, making sure you're in check. Clock watching. You might know clock watching. People are working, they're just off in 20 minutes. How do I 19 minutes? Path of least resistance. Some people will do the path of least resistance in everything that they do in life. You do not want to be one of those people. You want to be in control and trying to produce. That's what's going to get you ahead in this or any other industry. And most of this, like the complaining and gossiping part, it happens more often than not where you have people. You have a lot of gossip in the workplace. You need to really nip that in the bud very quickly. Make sure that people know that that's fine for outside of work, but when you're there, you need to be on top of your game at all times. Time management is a very, very important thing. One of the last things we're going to talk about here. It's how you manage your time, knowing that time is money, and using your time efficiently. And if you have a calendar, then you're very good at living by your calendar. Okay. If not, start learning and understanding time management and staying on top of your schedule, because it's important. Whole days can slip away by not being on top and knowing exactly what your big rocks are for that day, and knowing what your big rocks are the main things you have to accomplish for that day. It's easy. First thing you know, you jump on your social media, and next thing you know, you're on your 20 things later. You're looking at something that's completely out there. So then you've lost that time and never be able to get it back, especially in your work. And it's for your staff as well, making sure when it comes in, they know they have a plan on what's We talked about breaking larger tasks, some different time management, project management principles. Just taking a large task, a big goal, and breaking it down to smaller goals. Smaller goals with milestones, so you know that each and every time, you know, where you should be in order to accomplish your bigger goals. Time management tips, make a list of tasks each day. How many of you make a list? You actually write a list out of what you need. That's great. Now, what I like to do, what it adds and helps out a lot of stress, is at the end of the day, you make a list of everything that you have to accomplish for the next day, and knowing that you're only going to be able to do 2 or 3 big things, and the rest of them are, if you get to it, that's great, but you have big rocks that you have to knock out. These are things that you have to know how to master at this stage of your career, and if you do, it's going to benefit you to be light years ahead of people down the road. Organizing your work area, that way you don't have to search around for things when you're looking for them. You know, someone's keeping a nice neat work desk. Keep on top of your passwords. I don't know, I have like 80 different passwords for different programs, and it's impossible. So every time I get on, oh man, so I have to go down, I have to reset the password. And the next, 3 minutes later, 4 minutes later, I'm able to log on. Keep your password somewhere, because that 4 minutes, you add that up over the course of it's a lot of time. Avoiding time wasters. I'm a pretty social, actually I'm not, I'm really not. But, some people will sit there and they talk, they'll sit, talking quite a bit at work, and I don't know how people have that much time, but, I like to be nice to people, but also I don't get sucked into time-wasting conversations. I don't get sucked into drama. So I kind of keep boundaries there. Make sure you have boundaries in life. There's all your communication at one time. By that, like emails, make emails a couple times per day that you're going on and checking those, because you have to stay focused on your task at hand, and if every time your phone buzzes, you're not going to be able to get anything done. Multitasking is a myth. It's a myth that it's the best way to put it. You can't successfully multitask anything. That's different from getting one thing started and then, your team is following through with that and starting on something else. That's different. But everybody tells you about multitasking. I'm a great multitasker. That's what Mark was talking about earlier for buzzwords is, red flags. That's one of them. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That adds to the stress factor we were talking about earlier, but especially with time management. If you don't know how to do something, the time you try to there's experts in everything within your job. Don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of people are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to look. They don't want to look what? What? Probably crazy. They don't want to look like they're dumb. So, but it's okay to ask. It's good to ask questions. You should be asking whenever I start a new place, whenever I start. I'm being, with any new organization, I'm asking a ton of questions, all right? And when you get in a leadership position, you have to ask questions to figure out what's going on. The chances are pretty good. The person you're at, they really don't know, and if they don't know, that's a real problem, all right? But you need to be able to ask, and that's how you inquire, and that's how you get to the bottom of things. Procrastination, we talked about that. Make sure if you have big tasks, projects, do not wait till the day before. You break it up into smaller chunks. Anything can be accomplished if you break it down into smaller manageable pieces and knock those out individually. You have to have milestones. Those things are predecessors for you to get. In order to get here, you have to have 5 other things done. You just got to start. All right. Reasons for procrastination: fear of failure, perfectionism. Perfectionism is not good. Okay, it's the opposite of good. Is perfect. So. Don't try to be perfect, accept the fact that there's going to be mistakes, and then you learn from your mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid. And a lot of people are scared to make decisions. And on one little thing I want you to get away, take away from this is, it's better to make the wrong decision than no decision at all. Okay, I want you to remember that. Somebody told me that about 25 years ago. I remember it, and it takes time to really understand why, but you have to be able to make decisions and stick by it. That's not to say you're going to make the wrong. That's okay, as long as you're not making it. It's okay to make the wrong decision, but you have to learn and you have to move on. It's better to make the wrong wrong decision to no decision at all. And procrastinate, not wanting to perform a task. That's you know, some people they don't want to do things, and that's something, you know, I don't want to, go to the dentist. I have to go to the dentist. I want to go get certain checkups, but I have to get them done. You know, that's all things. We don't want to write term papers. We don't want to work on group projects. I get it, but we have to do it. So just keep that in mind. Procrastination leads to loss of opportunities. So in order to overcome that, visualize the completed task, make a plan for completing it, and then break it down. In project management, we call it a work breakdown structure, where you break down every piece of it and figure out how you're going to knock it out. And most importantly, in time management, it's okay to say no to people. If you can't take on a task, if you can't, I say no. My first response is no. And then if I talk to them, I'll figure, okay, maybe. Because some people say yes to every single thing. So they don't want to say no and upset people. But if you can't take on a task, you have to say no. But it's important to not overcommit, because when you overcommit, we get back to what we were talking about before with regards to your mental and emotional well-being. If it stresses you out, it's not going to benefit anybody. So you better off saying no, or ask for the resources you need. Okay? Now, talk about organization, making sure your office space is in good order. Use some type of calendar, either an online or a paper calendar. Use something so you're writing down what your important things are, what's coming up. Okay, and then to-do list. You should be making a lot of